Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kavinsky's Tutorials. And today I'm looking at the new Tera Pro update, which is actually a huge update because it adds an in-app purchase for Wavetable functionality. Now it comes loaded with a bunch, and I mean really a bunch of different wavetables, which if we open up a wavetable module, we can scroll through using these arrows. Now, I find these arrows a bit temperamental at times, I have to say. Hang on, there we go. Yeah, there definitely needs to be a little bit of work done in maybe widening the space where the finger can hit here, because this is definitely a kind of job for Apple Pencil. But if we click here, you can see, I mean, there are just absolutely, tons and tons of vintage wavetables in here. Right? Look, I mean, all of these are just sub-menus. So I don't know how many there are, but I think there's maybe like 1,000 or something. And you can add your own. I haven't actually looked into how to do that, but I guess it's in the manual. So what I'm going to do in today's video is just explain how the wavetable module works. It's not going to be a whole tutorial on the synth, and I'm also going to just demo the presets. So although there are tons of wavetables in here, there are, I don't know, I haven't counted these, maybe about 40 or 50 presets, and they're fantastic presets. And we're also just going to go through the controls. Now, one thing I'll mention is, first of all, always with my videos, make sure you look at the pinned comment. I usually have giveaways. Like, for example, today, 5 winners that'll be spread across YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter have the chance to win any Version app or any in-app purchase for any Version app. So all the details are in the pinned comment, but even when I don't have giveaways, there's usually a lot of stuff in the pinned comments, like workflow stuff, links to videos on apps that I used in the video, and so on. Now in today's video, literally, I mean, all I've got here is, apart from my mic chain and that sort of thing, all I've got is an instance of Tera Pro. Because the sounds are so complex, there's no need to add anything, but often I have pretty complex sessions going on. So pinned comment always has a lot of useful information, even if it's not just about giveaways. But yeah, giveaway info and links to my Twitter and Insta and stuff are in that pinned comment. Okay, now, what I'll do here is just mention that if we go to the standalone version of Tera Pro, you've got this question mark, which gives you a very brief overview of the synth, but also down at the bottom here, it has this big open user manual thing. Now, one of the nice things about it is that, unlike most built-in manuals for music apps, it has a search functionality. So that's super cool. One of the bad things about it is that, let's say I jump to this page, so that I'm on page 38 here. Then I press done to go out, and then I press open user manual again. It doesn't remember my position. So it has that advantage of having the search function. It doesn't remember your position. So I would ask Harry, the dev, please add that. Don't really know what that noise there is, but anyway, sorry about that, folks. Maybe my dog or something. So yeah, you've got the manual there, and the wavetable stuff starts around page 28. So let's see, spectrum oscillator, or 24 maybe it is, sorry, hang on. There we go, yeah, page 24. So we have the information there in the manual. But like I say, I'll go through that in the video, and I'll demonstrate on appropriate presets some of these functions and how we can use them to tweak the presets, and how we use the modulators, and also we'll just go into a few of the things about how to set things up or route things in this synth. So let's say first, for example, if you wanted to add a wavetable to an existing patch that didn't have a wavetable. Okay, so let's say this. If we look here, we can see that there's no wavetable module in here. So how do we add that? Well, basically, we can see at the end here, we've got a mixer module and an amp module, and the mixer is feeding into the amp module. And these things are feeding into the mixer, right? The Carpulus module, oscillator 1, this spectrum oscillator, and so on. So we have a few choices. One thing is we could remove one of these, or we've also got a spare space here. So if we clicked on one of these existing ones, we could replace it with something, including the wavetable oscillator. If we click here, we could just add in the wavetable oscillator, and then we can also see that that module will automatically open up in its full display mode. So if we want to compress that, we just tap on it. So this is the compressed version, and this is the enlarged version where we can see all the controls. So, this way we can actually build up pretty complex patches that don't involve tons and tons of scrolling. So very, very useful. Now, again, here, even in the small version, we can click on the bottom right to move through wavetables going forward, or on the left to go back through wavetables. So this is particularly useful, especially the first time that you're going through it and you just want to hear the wavetables. But of course, you're going to want to do that in an instance that just has a wavetable oscillator and not tons of other stuff, so you can hear what it's doing. I'll also just mention, don't forget that if you add the wavetable module into an existing patch, you can see that it's not going to make any difference in this one. Why? Because mix is totally down. But now we're bringing in the wavetable. So that's worth bearing in mind as well. But anyway, let's go back out to presets and just jump into the wavetable presets. And first, let's just listen to a couple of them. I really like this one. This is not the one I was looking for. Hang on. Random selector. Yeah, I like this one. So let's look at what is going on here. Okay, so again, we can see the setup here. All we've got is a wavetable, the amp module, and this common module. And we've got some controls over here. So we'll look at how these work. So the first thing is tracking is related to this pitch function. So we can see that at the moment, this is pitched down 2 octaves, right? 24 semitones. me just get that. Okay, so you can see that even though it's says 24.9 here, it's actually quantizing it, right, to a note value. But if we take track off, now it's unquantized, and it's going in hertz. And then here we can use something to modulate that. So we can see here that at the moment, LFO2 is set up as the modulator. And if we long press on that, LFO2 will open up, and we can choose, different waveforms and so on, and different rates, etc. So let's first choose the amount of LFO2 modulation. So let's just take that, for example. Okay, so now it's on random. Let's just change it to, let's say, square, and let's take the rate down here. Okay, so this is how you get into the modulation. Long press, open it up, do another long press on that LFO2 button, and it'll close again. So this anyway is the function of the track button. Now sync. So we can we'll demonstrate this on another patch, an appropriate one. So let's see. Let's go through. I'll just go through some patches first until I get to one that has the functionality that I'm looking for. Okay, so let's take this for example. So here we have this oscillator 1 connected to oscillator 2. And we have a choice between hard sync and weak sync. So, we can also choose our waveform here. Let's just take a square, let's say, and let's just pitch it down. And listen to the difference between the weak sync and the hard sync. So these can be really interesting to play with. Now, just press that again to turn it off. So without that sync on, there's no mixer or anything here. So this oscillator is not actually, going into the amp from what I can see here. Yeah, it's not. Okay, so yeah, it's just there for sync purposes and so on, I think, anyway, from what I'm seeing so far. Now let's see what happens when we press FM ratio. And let me just change this to, say, sine wave. So you can see now that here, this has changed to a ratio, the ratio between the modulator and the carrier. And again, this is integers. So that's all going to be nice. musical sounding. But then here we can get into, you know, less harmonic territory. Again, if we take a track off, let's see. Okay, it's still keeping the ratio there. Now, the FM index, we could modulate. So let's just take LFO2. Okay, so there's a lot of sound design opportunities there. Let's go on to another preset. Interesting one. That twang almost has a kind of sitar sound to it. By the way, notice that the synth has this bitimbral mode. So actually here we've got 2 layers, right? So we can, see, we can edit layer A, which is using this wavetable, and these parameters are set up like this. And then layer B is different wavetable and parameters set up differently. So AA just means anti-aliasing, and on high-pitched notes, you can hear there, it's making a huge difference. You won't always notice that, but on this preset, it's particularly noticeable. You see how much cleaner that is with the anti-aliasing on? Let me go down here a bit. Let's take it down very low, actually. So that's the 8-bit mode. Still not really hearing it, but I don't actually have my sound very loud on these headphones at the moment. I did actually ask Harry which preset you could hear that well on. He did tell me, but I can't remember. Anyway, that just, if you turn it on, it'll turn it to an 8-bit value for more lo-fi sound that you will hear on darker sounds, lower pitched sounds, potentially. Now, here, WM, if we look at the manual, there's not anything about WM, actually. Instead, it talks about PM, but it's basically talking about the same thing. So either the manual is going to change this to WM, which I guess means wave modulation or something, or they'll change the button in the app to PM, meaning phase modulation. But anyway, again, you can see here that this allows you to play with pulse width, but it's not like the typical, say, sawtooth variable pulse width that many synths use. Here we can use it for any waveform, okay? So all available waveforms. And pay attention to this. Below the phase knob, you find a slider selector combination to modulate the phase with one of the many possible modulation sources. So again, something that we can modulate. So first, I don't know what it's going to sound like on this. Let's just go on to another preset anyway, since we're trying out different things. Again, just pointing out, playing with table position is going to make a huge difference. It's more like sine wave. Here we're getting into much more sort of noisy territory, and maybe more atonality and so on. Now let me just put it back the way it was. So you see we've immediately got a much richer sound there, since we've got two copies of the output but out of phase with each other. So sound design possibilities of this thing are immense. Lovely one. So I think we've gone through all of the controls, etc., particularly related to the Wavetable functionality and the IAP. I'll just play through the rest of the presets briefly to give you an idea of the flavor. I'm a massive fan of the Version sound. Some people just really love very analog sounding stuff and don't like harder digital sounds, but I personally really like both. And Version do some really, really beautiful, very digital and very, very interesting sound design. But they're also very good at doing the analog stuff. And again, I just love the way the tail of the envelope carries on when you switch from one preset to another. And there's no horrible glitching. I often hate doing any kind of preset demo video because so many synths sound like crap. When you're switching presets, there's often a DSP spike. For example, as much as I like Nambu, it often has this little DSP spike when you switch from one preset to the next. Don't get that with this, and you just get beautiful, clean transitions. So it's really so much more enjoyable to demo when it's like that. So again, you know, the envelope, you're just going to long press on the ADSR. Okay, now that's going into the experimental presets, so let's just pop back to the first of the wavetable ones. That would sound just so great, sequenced. Beautiful. A lot of them you need to play sustained sounds to really let the whole thing, let the whole evolution play out. Brilliant. Okay, we played that one at the start. So you can hear that this one has no interpolation. This is with interpolation. That really does what it says on the tin. Needs time. Very James Blake.
I just want
Now, I don't know if that's just got an extremely long release or what, but I'm gonna turn all notes off there. Should be in an old Wolfgang Palm preset. There's no interpolation. It's great to have the option of with or without interpolation. Okay, we looked at that. We heard that one. So even just playing with the wavetable position, we've got really interesting and immediate preset tweaks. It's a brilliant one. Another lovely one. Okay, and there we are into the next bunch again. So, absolute no-brainer again. The last couple of synths I said that about were iVox, which again, especially when it came out, it was only $5. The price has increased, but still well worth getting. That's that Polyvox emulation, although it's by the way, polyphonic, because it can use 4 voices, which still isn't a lot, but it's more than the 2 voices that were the maximum when you had it in duophonic mode. Also, Nambu synth, I definitely had down as a no-brainer purchase if you like synths and sound design. This $7.99 for the in-app purchase, I think it's cheap. Even just if you're not going to do any making of your own patches, just to get a bunch of presets that are as interesting as these is well worth $7.99 in my opinion. But since you're also getting the ability to import your own wavetables and yeah, just use them as part of this very interesting, slightly unintuitive initially, but powerful and very intelligently thought out semi-modular synth. I think if you got the money, don't think twice about it. Get this in a purchase. And remember, as always, leave a review on the App Store for the devs if you like their stuff. It's pretty amazing how few people do leave reviews. I unfortunately don't often get the opportunity to leave reviews because I usually get, complimentary codes so I can check out apps. Doesn't in any way influence my reviews of the apps, and a lot of codes that I get, I don't even end up making videos on them. Either I don't have time or I don't like them enough. I don't really like making videos on apps that I don't like. Generally tend to stick to ones that I actually think are worth people's time. And this is definitely one that is worth your time, well worth your time. Sounds absolutely fantastic. So buy it, write a review, and remember, read the pinned comment for the giveaway instructions. If you're watching this after the giveaway, still well worth subscribing to the channel and clicking the all notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Whether you're watching them, to learn something about synths or just to hear what an app sounds like before you buy it, or whether you're trying to enter a giveaway to win an app or whatever, well worth subscribing, I think. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Have a great weekend.